Am I the a-hole for telling my sister people did express concerns about her son and stepson before she got married and she didn't listen? My sister has been married for 5 years. She has a 17-year-old son and a 17-year-old stepson in her home. The boys knew each other since kindergarten and they never got along. I remember my sister telling the rest of the family that she was called in and asked if she'd object to her son and the other child being buddied for a few weeks so they could work out their issues. Sister said that was fine. They tried for 7 weeks or something like that. They were seat pals, each other's helper, and were given small jobs to do together to build a better dynamic, and it failed. The whole time they were next to each other, it was hell in the class. This dynamic did not let up. The two of them do not like each other. I personally do believe they truly hate each other. Then my sister and her husband started a relationship. Prior to them moving in together and also prior to the wedding, many of us spoke to my sister about what a bad idea it seemed to be because the boys were not capable of getting along. She told us they'll have to once their family, and it'll do them some good. I asked her if she really believed that and if she really wanted to live in a house where 2 members do not want to see the other ever. She told me she loved her husband, then fiancé, too much to end things or hold off on marriage. She also told me she was going to convince her son to give her stepson a chance to be a friend if nothing else. That the kids clash in personality and they have some shared interests so they can work it out. She didn't like when our dad took her aside before the wedding and warned her it would end badly because of the boys. My sister and her husband have a son together now. He's also caught in the middle of both of his half-brothers hating each other. We all became a witness to just how much these two do not want to be near each other. We witnessed fights, glares, all kinds of things. My sister's stepson lost his shit on our great aunt for calling them brothers. There was an incident a couple of weeks ago. My nephew lost a friend. He'd been sick for a while and sadly passed away just before his 17th birthday. My sister and her husband wanted all 4 of them to attend the funeral, with their son together going to our parents'. Her stepson didn't want to go, said he didn't want to support my nephew, and he didn't care. He thought it was funny as hell how upset my nephew was. Said he hated the dead kid too. While at the funeral, my sister and her husband were sympathizing with the boys' parents and expressed that both nephew and stepnephew said kind things about their son. They told my sister and her husband there was no way stepnephew said kind things about their son and he shouldn't have been there. My sister said it was humiliating to realize other people are so aware of the bad blood. She then said we never warned her, and I corrected her and said we did, and she didn't listen. She told me we didn't try hard enough, and how dare I say we did enough. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. She told me we didn't try hard enough, and how dare I say we did enough. Here's the thing, your sister knows she's in the wrong, but she'd rather blame other people for her selfish choices. She cared more about getting married than well-being of either boy. What more did she want you to do? Tie her up until she listened? She'd already made it clear that what she wanted was all that mattered. Shame on her. Let her be embarrassed. It's the least she deserves for ignoring everyone's warnings.
Sister, no one warned me that this would happen. Everyone, we warned you that this will happen. Sister, but you didn't convince me.
Everyone, if we kept insisting you would have punched us. Sister, you could have dodged.
Did your sister truly believe that no one outside of the family knew? Also, is your sister always this accountability avoidant?
Not usually, but with this she has been 100% each step of the way. Also, she knew the boys' friends knew. There's bad blood there as a result. But the other parents and people outside that, she figured had no idea.
It's bizarre that she's only concerned because other people know. Like, she didn't give a shit that the boys knew, your family knew, their friends knew. The kindergarten teacher knew. Other teachers probably knew. But all of a sudden realizing that other parents know that their whole one big happy family act is total bullshit, and then she gets embarrassed.
Nah, that's like my mom. Always worried about appearances. It's a bit of a narcissist trait and we're not in contact anymore. I expect this may happen with OP's nephews and their mom because she's demonstrated that what she wants matters above all else, even the well-being of her own children.
Am I the a-hole for allowing my wife join the guys in my family when the women are cooking? My wife, 25 female, and I, 27 male, have been married for 6 months and together for 7 years. My wife isn't close to her family, long story. And I had a pretty decent relationship with mine, so when she graduated a year ago and we were ready to settle down, she wanted us to be near my family. They had met and things were okay, so it seemed cool. One thing I should mention is my family are more traditional, the women and men in the extended family mostly. My great-grandma always believed that during family time women do the cooking and men should do their own thing, play outside, watch a game, something. My brothers and I know how to cook only because my dad, who married into the family with the traditional views, was not raised that way and knows how to cook. He was able to get us competent LOL. I'm pretty good, but not as good as someone who was taught more and earlier. But the traditional views were always weird to me and were not something I believed in ever. It was something I was upfront with my wife about when we were only dating. My wife is an amazing cook. I will sing her praises every chance I get. She makes amazing food. She was super popular with her roommates and later our roommates in college when she'd agree to take on cooking duty. We both cook at home, but I love every night she cooks. The women in my family are jealous of this. Ever since we moved closer, she was expected to join them in the kitchen. Her cooking got compliments from the family. The men didn't always realize it was her and would say they loved the changes made to a dish. As a direct result, the female members of my family were being dicks to my wife and making comments about her not doing enough and being lazy, but then trying to take over. My wife really wanted to be close to them, so she tried so hard. But I hated seeing it and my dad couldn't get through to mom. So I told her she should step out of the kitchen and join us guys. She was hesitant to do so, but had fun the first time and she fit right in. And this pissed off the women in the family, who told me I should be insisting she join them like she's supposed to. They said I should not allow her to skip cooking duty. I told them I encouraged her to stay with us since they were so unfair to her. I told them we could always skip seeing them if that would make them happier. My wife feels bad. My dad joined me in telling her that the women are just being too hard on her and she doesn't deserve to be treated the way they were treating her. We talked about not attending and I enjoy being with the family less, but she hopes it'll get better. My mom confronted me alone and again told me I was wrong to allow this. I told my mom I love my wife and do not want her mistreated and excluded by my family. She said I'm not doing any favors hiding her from them. I told her they could try being nicer. She said I'm making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. You're doing the right thing helping her to be comfortable in these situations. It's a no-win thing for her, but at least you and your dad are supporting her. Also, allowing her? You're not her boss or keeper. Good on you for making the effort to make your wife comfortable and refusing to give in to this outdated nonsense.
I think it will likely reach the point where we just stop being there. I can't see another way around it unless things majorly change. My wife really wants this to work out because she loves the idea of a close family. But the views held in my family can be extremely dated, like the whole allow thing. Like you said, I'm not my wife's boss and I'm not an authority figure over her.
Have a dinner at your home and invite just those that support your wife. It may just be your father, but the three of you will have a great time.
Not the a-hole. Ugh, my first marriage was into a traditional Polish family. Same thing, all the women are expected to cook, clean, and work full-time, while the men adorn the couches. I moved away from my Western family to marry in the East. It lasted 5 years. Of dealing with the matriarchal arrogance, the nasty remarks, the petty jealousies, the mean-spirited entitlement. Your wife is sweet and kind. I'm glad you are standing up to the female bullies. There is no place in real families for this catty behavior. Hopefully with your dad's help, both you and he can start changing things for the better.
I wish I could have given my wife the loving and accepting family she didn't get to be a part of as a kid. But hey, we'll do better with the kids we want to have. I also think my dad and brothers will be good for her to be around, even if the rest of the family isn't so much. I would love to see a change in the whole dynamic. Not sure it will be something that happens in the near future, but maybe eventually we'll just do our own thing with a family who can be nice and appreciative.
You did give it to her. You both make a family unit. Later you'll add to your family. You accept her and love her.
Am I the a-hole for laughing at my brother's girlfriend's psychoanalysis of me? I, 17 male, am really into collecting colognes. I have 30 plus full-sized bottles as well as 50 plus smaller sample-sized decants, 1 to 3 milliliters decants. Some of this admittedly is Christmas birthday presents from friends and family, but I also buy with my own money. Trade bottles I do have for bottles I want, and have a cologne review TikTok page that's popular enough for some companies to send me free bottles, so I don't want to give the impression of being daddy's money. Anyways, my brother brought his girlfriend over, and I was giving her a tour of the house. We went to my room, she asked why I had so many cologne bottles, and I essentially said I always enjoy smelling new scents and am never satisfied that I've found the best scent when there's ones out there that I haven't smelt. She asked if I was a fuckboy, I said I don't think so, and asked why. She said based off of how I always felt the need to try out new colognes and could never settle with what I had being enough for me, I probably do the same with women. This made me laugh, and I asked if she had taken her first psych class or something. She got offended and asked me why I was laughing. And I admitted that I just frankly thought that was a really stupid analogy to make, and inanimate objects and living humans aren't the same. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. She might be projecting. Usually individuals project their own thoughts to other people when they try to figure something out, so she might be the unsettling one. Would be interesting to know how long your brother will be with her.
He has a bad track record when it comes to picking girls, so you'd probably be right in assuming not long.
This also sounds like Psych 101 reasoning.
Not the a-hole. Damn, how many rides did you take that you think I'm like you? Anyway, I can recommend Davidoff Cool Water, Oceanic Edition. Smells like you are standing in the wind near the coast after a storm.
Haha, that's a good one. Thanks for the suggestion. The cool water line is definitely really impactful and talked about. I haven't smelled any of it myself, but sounds good, so I'll look into it.
She said based off of how I always felt the need to try out new colognes and could never settle with what I had being enough for me, I probably do the same with women. Your reply is, I'm 17 years old. What the fuck do you think I should be doing? Getting married and having kids? How old is your brother and his girlfriend?
They're both 19, finishing their first year of college, hence my asking if she just took a psych class for the first time.
LOL, in that case you should ask her which one of your colognes does she like the most, then spray it on and say, come to Papa.
Am I the a-hole for asking money for the food I bought for friend's wedding? I am 28, female, living in DE with a well-paid job, currently supporting both myself and my boyfriend, who lost his job. Recently, I was invited to a 2-day Spanish-Italian wedding as the bride's witness. The 2-day event was held 3 hours away from the city and included a wedding ceremony, lunch, party, and next day a barbecue to celebrate the relative's birthday. We were told not to bring any gifts as the couple has planned second wedding in Italy for 80+ people and rented out a mansion. The groom's family is very rich. As a witness and best friend, I always went above and beyond by helping her in everyday life. For the wedding I rented a car for plus €250. I was picking up guests and helping a lot with logistics, bringing PPL from and to the airport. However, things took a weird turn when I arrived to the barbecue and was told that there is not enough food for us and we have to go shopping. Fine, it happens, we made a list of groceries for ourselves. While we shopped, I got calls from the hosts to buy more food. My boyfriend was even asked to get fresh bread. At the barbecue, I was asked to help with cooking, which I ended up doing for 1 hour. The food which we bought was distributed around all tables, meaning that we kinda sponsored the barbecue which we were invited to. The stupidest moment was that when my boyfriend asked for bread, he wasn't allowed to take the fresh bread he bought. Fiance's relative was not doing much, he was suffering from hangover from previous night. Others were hanging around and enjoying the setup. I had a nasty feeling, though I was happy that I could help. Afterwards, the couple went on a honeymoon and asked me to take care of their plants for 1 month, which is totally fine with me. I prepared them a nice bottle of champagne to celebrate their return from the honeymoon. As I spent a lot of money on food, I wanted to get some reimbursement. It's not like I bought food for only my boyfriend, my friend and me, but for all others who could have gone shopping as well. I added the expenses to splitwise and assigned 2.5 to the bride. Despite my efforts and expenses, I was harshly criticized for being a terrible friend, for not bringing a present, not washing dishes, or contributing enough financially. I was told that I should be thankful that their friends allowed us to stay overnight. We got them a bottle of expensive wine as a thank you. Then her fiancé accused me of trying to get their money and suggested I check my finances. The groom even implied that I didn't do enough for the wedding. However, I had already followed their words not to bring a gift and had been supportive in various ways. I was at work and all of this destroyed me emotionally. In conclusion, I felt unappreciated and hurt by the accusations and misunderstandings from my friend and the couple. I had genuinely tried to help and contribute, but it seemed like my efforts were not recognized or valued.
I'd very clearly tell her that this is her wedding, and while you were willing to help with your time, it should not fall on you to pay for their wedding. It's as simple as that. If she pushes back, if she doesn't apologize, then you need to really think about this friendship and analyze if it's actually a reciprocal friendship. Would she have done so much for you?
I was shocked to receive such requests. In my head and in my culture, if I am hosting a party, I am covering the expenses for everything. If someone wants to bring wine, etc., it's a nice gesture to me. If I am missing some groceries, I would give the money immediately to the guest who buys it. There is no speculation about it. I understand there could be some financial struggles, but it's not the case here.
I don't even know if this is a cultural thing. I just think they are trying to take advantage of your generosity.
Definitely not a cultural thing. This is just plain a-hole behavior.
Some people who are very rich stay that way because they take advantage of other people. Like making them buy food for a whole group. Do you really want these people in your life for them to continue to take advantage of you? It will now always be at the back of your mind. Not the a-hole.
That's how you stay rich, by not spending your money. Being rich and being miserly often goes hand in hand.
So true. In my line of work, it's mostly wealthy clients. The vast majority of them are great and pay their bills promptly, appreciate the work we do, etc. But there's always one who tries to get work for free, doesn't pay, complains, etc. We had one that shorted our office on a bill, shorted their builder too, and then they added a pool to their house. So it wasn't like they ran out of money.
Not the a-hole. You realized what kind of friends they are when they showed you their true colors, though. Be thankful for that. If they insist not paying you back, tell them to consider it your wedding present, then drop the acquaintance entirely.
Well, they already told me that I will not get any money back, so here I am pretty clear. I am sad but ready to move on.
Tell them the money you spent on the food for their party is their present, along with the time you spent helping them. Then dump them as friends. Keep the champagne and celebrate the removal of toxicity from your life.
Take the champagne you are going to leave them and stop watering her plants. If they can afford a 1-month honeymoon, they can pay someone else to look after their place. Not the a-hole.
Am I the a-hole for not giving my stepdaughter an inheritance? My 32 female husband passed away earlier this year. Our children, 6 female, 3 male, and I inherited his entire estate, which in total is worth almost $1 million. When he was in high school, my husband had a child, 16 female, with his girlfriend at that time. He broke up with his girlfriend once he found out she was pregnant, saying he wasn't ready to be a father yet. He visited her maybe once every few years when he was alive. My stepdaughter and her mother are very poor. They have struggled financially ever since my husband's death, as they no longer receive child support. They're struggling to pay rent and risk getting evicted. My stepdaughter reached out to me begging for her share of the inheritance. I feel bad for her, but my husband clearly stated in his will that he wanted to leave his estate to me and my children only. I barely even know my stepdaughter, and I don't think it's my responsibility to take care of her. She's furious with me, calling me a heartless gold digger and saying that giving her money was the least I could do to make up for years of neglect. Am I the a-hole?
It says a lot about your character that you went along with a neglectful deadbeat and still carry that torch of negligence even after his death. I hope you don't have the nerve to delude yourself into believing that your husband was a good person and good father. In different circumstances, he could have abandoned your children like he did her through no fault of their own. Depending on where you live, his will might be irrelevant. If he never paid child support, his first BM might be able to sue his estate for back payment, or stepdaughter might herself be entitled to a proportional share of inheritance. Edit, you are the a-hole. Just seen about the child support. Why would this not continue until she was 18? but for his death would he still be paying?
Agree, your strength of character is lacking. You're correct, she's not your responsibility, but she is your children's sibling. You can set up a trust for her so that her mother can't spend it. I would definitely go to a lawyer if you choose to give her something, but not giving her anything is so very cold-hearted. I'm sure it wasn't easy for her to make that call. Your husband didn't clearly state in his will that she should absolutely get nothing. Just, wow.
You are the a-hole. Most places in the US will side with the daughter and her mother, at a minimum for 2 more years of child support. OP is about to, likely and justifiably, lose more than that when the kid takes her to court. Or she can take the easy, moral, and likely cheaper route and cut her a check for about 1/4 of the full inheritance.
You are the a-hole. Your husband was major the a-hole. Had a child and basically acted like she did not exist. Of course he would not put her in his will. But you know she is his child. You know she is struggling. There is no reason, with the amount of money you received, that you could not help her out. First of all, by continuing said child support until she is 18 or finished college. You could also put some in a trust for his stepdaughter. Do you have to help her? Legally, no. But if you can sleep at night, knowing you have funds to help her, but you choose not to, then you are no better than your husband was.
Absolutely agree with this. Also, depending on where OP and the stepdaughter are living, the stepdaughter, as well as OP's children, may be entitled to some type of benefit considering the father died. It may be worth the 2 mothers getting together and looking into that in order to benefit all of the children. Especially since it would be better than the stepdaughter's mother contesting the will or suing the estate for support for the stepdaughter. Which, considering OP mentions there was child support prior to her husband's death, has a fair chance of working in the stepdaughter's favor. It is also worth considering that this girl is OP's children's half-sibling and they very well could all want to establish a relationship in the future when they are all adults. OP may want to provide some support in order to be able to tell her own kids that she didn't leave their sister with nothing while they lived the good life.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.